friends, it's Jessi here. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. For today's video, I am going to be going through tracking all of my expenses for week 2 of April, and I'll be filling in my hybrid budget to reflect how I'm doing so far in the month of April. Now, you saw the title of this video. It is once again an episode of Overspending with Jessi, and I bet that you can guess which categories I overspent in. That's right, the same categories I always overspend in: groceries and our spending category. We are struggling this month to stick to the new lower budget that I set for myself for the month of April. Yeah, we're struggling in a big way. So let's talk about it. The good news is that we don't have a ton of transactions to get through, so it should go pretty quickly, this expense tracking portion of the video. But the expenses that we do have to go through are unfortunately overspending again. I tried this week. We ran out of a lot of things kind of all at the same time, which really made it difficult to stick to our grocery budget this week. Then we had some spending, there was some impulse spending and some necessary spending, but still that added up. So let's just get into it. I'm gonna go down the line. This is everything I spent from April 9th through the 15th. Our budgeting week always starts on Tuesday because that is when we get paid. So it goes Tuesday to Monday. Tuesday was the 9th, so we'll get started with the very first transaction, which was my Sleep Number credit card. If you are not familiar with my channel and my journey, we have been on a debt-free journey here in my household for ever, it seems like, for years and years. We started out with like 14 credit cards that carried balances. We are currently working on our very last one that needs to be paid off, which is a Sleep Number credit card. I've been sharing all of the details of the payments I've been making and the plan for how I'm tackling this credit card with my channel members. So if you're interested in getting more details on how I am attacking this last credit card in our debt snowball, you're definitely going to want to join my channel membership. That is also a way that you can get your hands on these beautiful printable budget worksheets. One of the perks for one of the tiers of my membership is access to every single one of my beautiful April budget worksheets. So if you're interested in all that, join my channel membership. If you're not interested in the membership, but you still want the worksheets, you can buy them over on Etsy. So check out the links in the description box below for that. But Sleep Number is our final credit card. I only share in these budget updates when I make the minimum payments. If you want to see the extra payments and the snowball and all of that, that's for channel members. But this is the payment I made for our Sleep Number credit card. So this category is bills, and I paid $300, which is technically not the minimum payment on that card. I think the actual minimum payment on that card is $140 something. But when we opened this credit card and we bought my Sleep Number bed, we made a promise to ourselves that we would pay a minimum of $300 each month. So that was like our set minimum payment. So that is what I paid this week. Also paid some extra, but you'll have to join my membership for that info. So that was the first thing. Then comes all of the grocery shopping. So I ran out of my coffee this week. I ran out of protein bars this week. I ran out of protein shakes this week. I also ran out of cat litter this week, and the solution that we use in both of our vac mops, both our Roborock Robot vacuum mop and my Tinco or Teenco or Tyneco, however you say that handheld mop or that push, you know, it's not a robot. So I had to buy all of those things, and those things add up. Starting with my Nespresso order, that is my coffee of choice. I love my Nespresso machine and my Nespresso pods. My husband uses our Ninja and he uses K-Cups, but I prefer the Vertuo pods. So that's what I ordered, my kind of monthly supply of my Nespresso pods. The category for this is grocery. And the amount that I spent was $37.50. Which I understand is a lot, but I don't go out for coffee. I always make my coffee at home, so I allow myself to splurge a little bit on my pods. Okay, then I was out of protein bars. Austin convinced me to try the Built Bars this week. We've had Built Bars before, but he wanted to try some different varieties of the Built Bar Puffs. He's really into working out. He goes to the gym like 4 times a week. He's also very athletic, involved in soccer. And so he needs a lot of protein and he likes to try different protein bars. So he will eat the Built Bars. I will also eat the Built Bars. I am trying to up my protein in order to stay fuller longer with my weight loss plan that I'm on, my Weight Watchers. So yeah, all of those justifications to say I spent $1 zillion on protein bars, not exactly a zillion, closer to 50. It was $53.99. And I wish I could say I got a zillion bars for that. These are pretty pricey. They are delicious though. If you haven't tried the Built Bars, I highly recommend them if you're willing to invest a little bit in your diet. All right, then we did our actual grocery shopping at Walmart. And you're gonna see several Walmart transactions kind of all in a row. I did some of my shopping in store. I did some of my shopping online. So lots of different transactions here. For our main groceries for the week, I really tried, you guys, to keep it lower than usual. And I failed. Groceries are expensive. We have a lot of different priorities with each one of us in the family eating different things. We like our convenience foods. You guys, you've heard this spiel before. I spent $215.22, which wouldn't be terrible if I didn't also have to order the Built Bars and I didn't also have to order my Nespresso pods and all these other little transactions that added up. If it was just $215, wouldn't be too bad. But alas, we also had to get protein shakes this week. Now, I guess I shouldn't say that I had to get those things. We could do without them, but we choose not to. So I always get our protein shakes from Sam's Club. We really like the Fairlife ones. And that's the cheapest place to get them. So I ordered a box from Sam's Club. This is also grocery. And that was $21.38. So yeah, lots of grocery shopping this week. I believe that's the last of the transactions though. In terms of grocery, not the last of all my transactions, not even by a long shot. So also on the 10th, we did some shopping on Amazon. Like I said, I ran out of the solution for both of my mops. I ran out of cat litter, and I also ordered some organization things that I've been wanting to help me get organized better around my house. So I placed one giant order, but the way that Amazon works is they don't charge your card until they ship the things. So I did all of the shopping on the 9th, I believe, technically, but the transactions came out of my account as they shipped. If you're not familiar with how I do my budget, I put everything on a credit card. We like to do that because we use the rewards that we get back from that credit card. It's a Citi card for Christmas at the end of the year. So everything gets filtered through a credit card. That's what I use to track my expenses, my little credit card statement. So yeah, even though I placed these orders on the 9th, they didn't come out until a day or two later. So on the 10th, we had the first of the Amazon purchases. And again, I don't know which ones are which. I'm going to categorize all of these things as spending, even though technically they're household items, and most of the time I pull my household items out of this grocery category. I've explained this before. When I buy the household items along with our groceries from Walmart, it just makes more sense to incorporate it into our grocery line item, because I don't want to have to go through and separate out the transactions or the expenses on the receipt. When I'm buying things from other places, Amazon or TJ Maxx or wherever, it usually comes out of spending. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. I don't care so much about that as I do the overall budget at the end of the month. So Amazon was $25 for this transaction. And then we also, and then on the 11th, I had the other Amazon transactions come out. The first one was for $47. And then lastly, for $41.28. All right, so that was that. Then we had a couple of no spend days, which is great. Didn't spend anything else until the 13th, when my husband went to Circle K and bought I don't know what. Usually he uses his cash. The way we kind of split out our spending is I give him a certain amount of cash at the beginning of the month for any of his transactions. And I just kind of count it as gone. He has the cash. He spends it however he wants. And then the other half of the spending goes on the card. This is the stuff that I'm spending or the household spending. And that's what I'm tracking here. Sometimes he leaves his cash at home or whatever. Sometimes he just swipes the card because it's easier. It's usually just a few dollars here or there. And that's what's getting tracked here. So I don't know what he bought at Circle K. It's actually 2 Circle K transactions. The first one for $1.69. And then the other, also Circle K, also spending $8.35. Oops, that looks like something that's not a 5. Okay. Also on the 13th, he went and got a haircut. That's also going to come out of spending. We are in the process of setting our sinking funds back up again, so that stuff like this would come out of a sinking fund, but currently it's not set up, so we're just using our spending for that. That was $31.20. On the 14th, we ordered a pizza for dinner from Hungry Howie's. Not just one, who am I kidding? We're a family of 4 and I have big eaters. We definitely had 2 pizzas and breadsticks. This is coming out of our eating out category, and we spent $35.80, which I didn't think was too bad. Sometimes we order pizza and it's like $75 friggin' dollars, so I was happy that it was lower. Still way too much, right? Like I could make pizza at home for much less than that, but sometimes you just gotta order out. All right, on the 14th, we had a couple of our bills come out. We had HBO Max charge, and this is in our auto pay category, which is just a category that I have a line item in my budget for all of these little transactions that come out of my account automatically, all of our streaming services, subscription boxes, that sort of thing. It just makes it easier to have it all written down as one line item in my budget, rather than having like 15 different things that are $20 or less, right? So was HBO Max, comes out of our auto pay category, and it was $15.82. Which streaming services do you have? Leave me a comment down below, let me know. I feel like we have them all, way too many, but we all like different things. I've tried to sit my family down and go through them one by one and see what we can cancel, but you know, Robbie likes these 2 streaming services and Austin likes 2 different ones, and he likes to watch soccer on that one, and my husband watches Netflix, so it's like we all like different things. So we're basically paying as much as we would like a cable bill for all of these streaming services. You have to let me know if it's the same in your household or if you are more disciplined than I. All right, and then last but certainly not least, on the 15th, we had YouTube Premium, which is my personal favorite of the streaming services. I love YouTube Premium. You can pry it from my cold dead hands. This is another auto pay line item, and this amount is $22.99. So that's everything. Now we can go down the list, add things up. I'm going to use my highlighters to kind of color code everything just because I like to do that. It makes budgeting more fun for me. And we'll get it added up and then use that information to fill in my hybrid budget. Okay, so we will get started with bills. And for bills, I'm going to highlight in this blue. It's pretty easy. We just had the one this week. And by the way, if I didn't mention it, bills are different from auto pay in that I have to go in and pay the bills manually, and the auto pay comes out automatically. That's why I have them separate. They're all bills, right? But some of them get paid automatically. Some of them I go in and pay them manually, and that's how I differentiate. All right, so that was bills. For grocery, I will use this yellow color, and I'm just going to highlight and kind of add as I go with my calculator here on my phone. So we have $37.50 plus $53.99 plus $215.22 plus $21.38. $328.09, and that seems to be the magic number. Like, it seems like every week I'm spending $325 to $350, which is just so much money. For April, I set my grocery budget to be like $250 per week, and we've way overshot that. This is now the 2nd week in a row, so it's not looking too good for my grocery budget. But like I said, we did have all those extra things that all kind of ran out at once. Usually I'll buy like, you know, my pods one week and my protein shakes another week. It doesn't all usually fall on the same week. It just so happened that it did this time. So yeah, it is what it is. All right, for spending, I'm going to use purple. I love this purple. It's so pretty. These are all the zebra mild liners, by the way, which I love. They're my favorite highlighters. All right, so $25 plus $47 plus $41.28 plus $1.69 plus $8.35 plus $31.20, $154.52, which is very different from what I have on my rough draft. So either I forgot something or I added this up way wrong. Give me 1 second to double check here. I forgot. I missed a transaction on the 9th, so it should have been up here. We bought some box fans because our box fans were all like broken and gross at the end of summer last year. And so I threw them out and we had to buy new ones, and the prices of those have gone way up too. Used to be able to get them for like $13 each, and now they're like 26 or 24, something like that. So it was $49.54 for those ceiling fans. So that explains the difference. Where that extra money went, I totally skipped over a transaction. So let's add these up again really quick. 25 plus 47 plus 41.28 plus $1.69 plus 8.35 plus 31.20 plus 49.54 is 204.06, which is what's on my rough draft. That's why I always do a rough draft, because once I get here on camera and start trying to add things and doing numbers, I mess up a lot. I get distracted, I write the wrong thing, I skip things, so yeah, it's important for me to always have a rough draft to make sure that I catch any mistakes. And sometimes I still miss the mistakes and you guys correct me in the comments. So feel free, if you see that I did something wrong, to correct me. Okay, so that's it for spending. For eating out, let's see. Let's do this like, whoops, kind of minty color. I love this color. $35.80 for eating out, which I think is really good, especially for us. So at least that's the one bright spot here in our budget. And then last but not least, we have those couple of auto pay categories, which I guess I'll use red for. So $15.82 and $22.99. $38.81 for that. So let's really quickly just get a total just for funsies. 300 plus 328.09 plus 204.06 plus 35.80 plus 38.81, 906.76 this week. All right, next, we're gonna use this information to update my hybrid budget system. Okay, so I have flipped to my 2-page hybrid budget system here. If you've never seen this before, this is the system I use to keep track of my budget. It's got a monthly section here for just like our one-time bills, as well as our overall budget for our variable categories. And then it's got these weekly sections where I can break down our variable expenses by week. These are things that I spend from weekly, like our grocery budget. We have an overall monthly budget, but we tend to do our grocery shopping every week. So I like to check in with it every week to get a feel for how I'm doing overall in the month. There's also sections here for sinking funds, which I will still need to fill in for April. Savings, if you're doing any savings above and beyond your sinking funds. And if you're not familiar with sinking funds, I look at sinking funds like short-term savings, things that are happening within a calendar year typically. And then savings would be longer-term savings, whether it's an emergency fund or if, for example, I was saving for a down payment on a house or something like that, something that takes more than a year to save up for. That's just how I do it. Other people do it differently. Personal finance is personal. Do whatever works best for you. And then there's a place here for debt payments, which I, like I said, keep private. I don't share here on my channel with the exception of in my members only videos. So you won't see anything in here. But you can use it to keep track of the extra debt payments that you make throughout the month. There's also an income section, which I also keep blank for privacy reasons, but obviously you could fill in your income yourself. Maybe you have multiple streams of income, helps you keep track of what's coming in and what's going out. I love my hybrid budget. system. All right, so I've pulled out my expense tracker so that I can use it to fill in these categories. I'm just gonna kind of fold this in half. I might zoom in a little bit. We're just gonna kind of fill in the holes here. So all of my bills have been paid at this point in the month. The majority of my monthly bills come out in the first 2 weeks of the month, with the exception of some auto pay things. But so we can fill in all of these bills. I'm looking here and I have my Michigan gas line item here and I don't have that on my expense tracker. So that's something else I forgot, and I forgot that in my rough draft as well. See why it's important for me to go over my budget multiple times and to have a rough draft, because I forget things. Luckily, I didn't forget to pay it. I just forgot to write it down. It was $55 just as expected, and that did get paid this week. So that should be included here in my bills, and I just forgot it. So my apologies for that. And then we have sleep number. I budgeted $300. I paid $300. So all that's left here in my budget are my variable categories, which I fill in week to week. They are as follows: auto pay, grocery, eating out, and spending. And this is where I have the most control over my budget. Can't necessarily control how much I pay out in bills. I mean, you can a little bit, right? Like I said this before, you can turn the lights off, try to lower your electric bill, but what your bills are, they are. You can shop sales to get your grocery shopping down. You can go without like expensive protein shakes and protein bars if you have more self-control than me to lower your grocery budget. Same with eating out, same with spending. This is where I have the most control over my budget, or in my case, I have no control because my self-control is limited. I have been doing better, believe it or not. Like, even though I come on here every week with an episode of Overspending with Jessi, it's better than it was. All last year, I didn't budget whatsoever. So it's getting better. All right, so for auto pay, we know this week, if we just look here at my expense tracker that we just filled out, that I spent $38.81. Now this is where the fun part comes in. So I can look at my auto pay budget for the month and see that I budgeted $300. The end of last week, I had $229.22 remaining. So I spent $70.78 the first week. After I took that money out, paid that, we've got $229.22 left in that budget. This week we spent $38.81, so we have $190 with 91 cents remaining for the next 2 weeks, because there's 2 more full weeks in the month of April for my budget. So we're in good shape there. Grocery, not in such good shape there. So we spent $328.09. So I just fill that in here in my spent column. I gave us $1,000 for groceries at the beginning of the month, which was significantly lower than what we've been spending, which I can see was a mistake because we are regularly spending like almost $330. You can see that's what we spent last week and this week. So this is our kind of normal amount each week. I tried to cut it back. I think I tried to cut it back too much. And I said that, I think, when I wrote my April budget, like, this may be a mistake. It clearly was. But we do still have 2 more weeks. If we can spend significantly less than the next 2 weeks, we can still come in under budget. I don't know if it's going to happen. We'll see. So we started out with $1,000. Last week we spent $327.57, which left us with $672.43. So that's where we're starting this week. $672.43 minus the $328.09. So we have $344.34 remaining, which is just a little bit over what we typically spend in a week. So in order to come in under budget for the next 2 weeks, there's 2 weeks left, so I'm going to divide that by 2. we've got to spend $172.17 or less. Friends, I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. I'm going to try. I don't have high hopes for us coming in under budget in this category, but we'll have to see how it goes. Wish me luck. All right, for eating out, this is better. This is better. For eating out, we spent $35.80. I gave us a budget of $300 at the start of the month. Last week, we spent $86.64, which left us with $213.36. So, $213.36 minus the $35.80 that we spent this week. We have $177.56 remaining for eating out. We divide that by the 2 weeks that are left in the month. That's $88 a week, which is more than reasonable, I think. If we can spend less in eating out, or ideally nothing in eating out the rest of the week, that might offset the overspending in groceries. So there's ways I can finagle this to still make it work. It's just not going to be as easy as it could have been had I spent less these last couple of weeks. But it's tough when you are used to eating a certain way and buying the same things every week to suddenly just take that away. I have, 4 people in my family that I need to, make happy and accommodate. So it's difficult. Sticking to a grocery budget when everything has gone up is hard. And I say this every single week. You guys are probably tired of hearing it, but it's tough. Okay, so that was eating out. Lastly, we have spending, which is another doozy. We spent $204.06 this week. I gave us a spending budget of $600. At the end of last week, we still had $413.93 remaining. So if I take away the $204.06 we spent this week, that leaves us with $209.87. I don't know if we're going to be able to stick to that either. We did buy a lot of the things that we needed in the first couple of weeks, so it may turn out that we don't need anything, or it may turn out that we need a bunch of stuff and we go over budget here too. I said when I wrote my April budget, this was going to be difficult to stick to. It's $104 a week in spending, which I think is okay. We'll have to see. So let's look at the overall totals here. I'm done with this, so I can set this off to the side. Let's just get a overall look here. So this week in variable spending, we spent $606.76, which was less than last week, though not by much. And what we have remaining here, not much in the grand scheme of things. $922.68 for 2 more weeks. So $461.34 per week. So if we spend a little bit less in some categories and we offset some of this overspending, we still could do this thing. Like, I know that we don't have a ton, I might be lying. I don't want to say that. I was going to say we don't have a ton left in auto pay, but I don't think that's true. The last week of the month, a lot of our auto pay stuff comes out. So I think my plan is just to spend as little as possible on groceries. Try not to eat out much to help offset some of the overspending in groceries, and just be mindful of what we're spending and hope that I can make these numbers work. I do have a buffer in my account here of $300, so that will help as well. We also did come in under budget in some of these bills. I always like to overestimate how much my bills are going to be so that I have a little bit of wiggle room in my budget automatically. So this still could work out. It's definitely going to be tough though. I got to rein in this grocery spending. I got to rein in the spending category. It's the same story as always. Those are the categories I always struggle with. Not much has changed, except that I lowered my budget. So we'll see. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I could use some encouragement down in the comments, so let me know how you're doing in April. Hopefully better than me. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.